What up? What up? What up? Always nice to see everybody waiting for the show to actually start. That's always cool. Got people in the waiting room in the chat, getting the chat cooking before I even hit the go live button, as I just did, of course, because now I'm live. Anyhow, a lot to get into today. A bunch of different topics I want to hit, but I'm going to let Sydney Colson start things off. Because I thought her message certainly is one that is going to resonate with fans today and fans of the Indiana Fever in particular. Here is what Sydney Colson had to say.
Hey, man, this is not a drill for the rest of this quarter, for the entire playoffs. Get your seats and cheer. All playoff. All playoff. I want you leaving the arena and your voice is hoarse. Oh, let's go, Fever. I want you hoarse like me. Let's hit it.
So there's Sid. And, the Fever win against the Lynx last night. The Lynx not really playing for anything, so you can't read too much into that. But the Fever have been playing very well as of late, which is kind of crazy when you think about, the praise they've received for persevering and all of those things. But it's not even just that anymore. This current iteration of them is peaking at the moment. And that's the most exciting thing as the Fever get into the playoffs, where it feels like Stephanie White has found a bit of a rotation with the players she's got. And then she's got a couple of players, obviously, who are capable of getting it done and giving anybody a run. Let's, give a special shout out. Kelsey Mitchell deserves credit. She deserves kudos. She has killed it all season long. In fact, the Indiana Fever probably have the two most exciting players in the WNBA. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark has been sidelined, or else we'd see them together in the backcourt. But beyond Cece, I think Kelsey may be the most electrifying player in the league. Just the fast-paced end-to-end, the way she gets up and down the floor, shifts like a running back, can score, can shoot from the outside, takes it to the cup. Kelsey has cooked all season and certainly deserves, kudos and all WNBA first team. She should be on that all WNBA first team for sure. So, Kelsey Mitchell, I think through all of what is going on, it's probably worth a little special shout out for her at this point in time in the season. And the drama that the team has dealt with. And then obviously, Caitlin yesterday, that part of it was tough too, because she posted before the game, basically like, I missed this so bad. And every time you see those things or you're reminded of it, it kind of hits you in the feels, gives you a little bit of the blues there, because we all miss seeing Caitlin play as well. And you think about what could have been if Caitlin was on the floor. And, she was doing workouts before the game as well, full court workouts and all that stuff. And it sucks, right? And they talked about it on the broadcast last night. Again, thanks to Ryan Rucco for the shout out. How he gave me some credit for the Lexi Hull's face represents the Fever season. But you just they discussed how Caitlin Clark, the shutdown happened, and basically that the ankle didn't allow her to ever test the groin. And then they got to a point where it just, there was no time for her to get ready for playoff competition. And it was a decision that was made collectively. And, that is my understanding that Caitlin was involved in it. And also, for everybody that's always on this paranoia train or the Stephanie White propaganda thing, Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark, I know that they have a good relationship as well. And Stephanie White is, I don't know how many different ways I can say it, but she's a hell of a coach. And the idea that anybody would say otherwise at this juncture is just asinine. But the Fever are rolling right now. They're playing pretty well going into the postseason. They're not a team that I think you want to see if you're the Aces or if you are the Dream. Either one. I don't think they're a team you want to see. Meanwhile, the Seattle Storm, with a former Fever member secure a playoff spot last night. This was how that went down. You had Erica Wheeler with the big shot to win the game and beat the Valkyries. Up top. Still 20 seconds left at this point, but that was the decisive shot in the game. And not only did it secure the Storm a playoff berth, but it also gave them a lottery pick because they get the Sparks 2026 pick if the Sparks miss the playoffs. And obviously, the Sparks were eliminated from the playoffs with that shot. So a really big shot for the Seattle Storm. Meanwhile, we'll see who they play in the first round because the Lynx kind of control that. The Lynx are, they play the Valkyries. So with the Lynx playing the Valkyries, that allows them to almost control their first round opponent, or does allow them to control their first round opponent, because if they were to beat Golden State, then they play Golden State. And if they are to lose to Golden State, then they play Seattle. So that's the way that would shake out based on that. And for the Fever, you look at the standings right now. The Dream and the Aces are tied, both 29 and 14. The Mercury 2 games back, so the Fever are going to play the Dream or the Aces in the first round of the playoffs. Which, I mean, look, is there a preference? I don't know. The Aces have been rolling as of late. You could argue the Fever could run the Dream because the Fever play really fast. For all the kind of talk about them slowing it down, they play really fast. If you notice, every announcer talks about how fast the Fever play. So you've got that as well. Then there was Unrivaled today, another announcement. The whole Unrivaled thing is kind of fascinating to me because of this CBA negotiation and the fact that Unrivaled continues to add to their grow. They add to their funding. They add new teams. It was Breeze BC and Hive BC. And they also said they're not going to chase anybody down, which I thought was a cool mentality. They're to be able to get to this point for Unrivaled without Caitlin Clark and without Asia Wilson, all this funding continue to grow. It's kind of fascinating. And to see how it plays out in the offseason will also be fascinating in the midst of the CBA negotiations because, again, Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart co-form the league, and they're big-time players in the WNBA. So in any negotiation, they can't really take anything that hurts or takes away from Unrivaled, given they've helped built it. And at the same time, on the other side of things, the better Unrivaled does, the more pressure that puts on the WNBA. And it's the best almost collective pressure in a sense that doesn't involve Caitlin Clark being this central figure. And we'll see if, Caitlin, I do believe, whether it's Unrivaled or somewhere else, I believe it may behoove Caitlin Clark to play some offseason basketball, given the fact that she didn't play all of last season, and or all last offseason and was off for so long. So you do wonder a little bit, if it's, again, this is not me like selfish or anything like that, or, because I'm covering this, but there's so much of a break in the offseason that you do wonder if it hurts Caitlin if she's not getting any actual work on the court, like in a game simulation or a real game, whether that be Unrivaled or Athletes Unlimited or overseas or whatever the case may be. I mean, if, I think it's something she should consider. It's up to her, of course. As always, I'm never telling anybody what to do, but that's interesting. And Unrivaled continuing to grow is interesting. Another thing that continues to be interesting is the Angel Reese saga. And I told y'all what Angel did wasn't cool and how it's kind of staggering to me the amount of people who have sort of rushed to the defense as if, calling out your teammates publicly, airing out the locker room laundry isn't, hasn't always been frowned upon. And just because it's Angel saying it and just because she may be correct. And it seems to me that Angel has played her last game with the Chicago Sky, certainly if the GM remains in place. If they get rid of the GM, then maybe she comes back. If you get rid of the GM, that's the possibility I could see. And it's not as if Jeff deserves to just stay. That's the long and short of it. I mean, I'm not saying that the Chicago front office has done a good job. I'm saying that the bridges have been burned here to the point where her teammates were offended. And you also see other people coming out, like other people who have actual stature. And I know people are going to say Candace Parker hates Angel Reese or whatever. This was the teaser. The podcast, I think, just went live. But this was the teaser.
The best advice that I ever received was to keep things in-house. You can yell, scream, cuss, do all those things in between these walls, but you can't bring it out. And once that happens, it's hard to gain that trust back. Whether it was us going to rival colleges, you knew that she was going to be a superstar. You knew.
So they're talking about something else at that point. But keep it in-house, which is something that Sophie Cunningham also echoed on her podcast. This is what Sophie had to say.
Quote, we have to get good players. We have to get great players. That's a non-negotiable for me, which is why the team gave her the little tough love. I'll let you go first here. Not great.
No, that's not great. And I get when you're losing and it's been a frustrating season, everyone is feeling those emotions. And when I say everyone, it's not just her. I'm sure her teammates feel it. Her coaches feel the organization, the fans, literally everyone feels that. And there's some things that there's just some things that you just can't say. And I think one of my biggest things is I'm a very team first person. I always put the team before my feelings. And I think that should be a standard. And so you got to protect your locker room. And so you just can't be saying everything you're feeling because that just is not a good look. And then your teammates feel a certain way and that causes division in the locker room. So it's just protect your locker room at all costs. And
so, yeah, again, whether or not Angel Reese is correct is irrelevant. Being correct is not the point here. Being correct is not whether or not, she's in the wrong. She's in the wrong because you don't do that. You don't call out your teammates publicly like that. And also take zero accountability yourself. And then, last night, Tyler Marsh, the coach of this guy, had said that he expected her to play. And then she was ruled out with the back injury. So make of that what you will. But that is certainly a saga at this point in time. And it's not going to, if the current regime stays in place, I don't even know if it's Angel that has to ask for a trade as much as they're going to just trade her. And some of the stuff that was in Annie Constable's article was intriguing to me. The fact that it was included, off-court conduct and, other GMs or whatever front offices saying that she'd be the third or fourth option on a real team. But at this point, it feels like she may have already played her last game in a Sky uniform. And since that half suspension, she didn't play the second half because of the back. And now she's still out because of the back. and looks like there's no turning back. I mean, again, Ariel Atkins had her back all season long too. And Courtney Vandersloot is whether she's old or not, she's a legend of the game. You don't do it. And it drives me crazy how many people have just come out and defended it. It doesn't matter if it's correct. Again, there's truth and there's tact. And the latter was missing there. But, that's the long and short of it as it continues. And you can, call people out behind the scenes or put pressure on the GM behind the... By the way, Angel Reese basically was touting her GM skills last offseason. So, you have to take some personal accountability too. That's all part of it. I'd mentioned when I was talking about Unrivaled, I don't know if I actually pulled up the quotes. Let me pull these up for a second because I think it's worth noting what was said here by the league itself, or Alex Bizzell. There's always going to be an ongoing dialogue. There is no secret who the top players in the world are, and they know we have a spot for them, but we are not knocking down doors or chasing people down. I feel good about where our rosters stand. There you go. Which is a good mentality to have, to not be desperate in those situations. Get to the comments in a minute. Member chats, super chats go first. As always, I did want to share something that's disappointing to me. If you guys are okay, you bear with me for a second, because this was some disappointing news. Or I'm still, delusional. I'm maintaining delusion. Sometimes you want something to happen, you maintain delusion. Like Caitlin Clark will be back if the Fever make it to the second round of the playoffs. But there's been a lot of smoke around a new Jay-Z album. The last Jay-Z album was 444 in 2017. And while that would be a perfect send-off album and still remains a perfect send-off album, there had been enough buzz and speculation that there could be a Hove drop this fall. And Cash Cobain, he went on a show and had this to say that really blew up and added fuel to the fire.
You know what? I need to give him some boom, drop a banger. We better all get a cut of that right now.
Look,
yeah, we got some royalties.
I heard Jay-Z about to drop some. Yeah,
you hearing that
that's
too?
gonna
What
shake
you
the world.
heard, Cash?
That's what I heard.
He knows something.
That's what I heard.
He knows something.
That's gonna shake the world.
We gonna hear Jay on the Susie beat soon?
I don't think so.
Damn. You never know though, bro.
I'm talking about Beyonce though.
Ooh.
I'm trying to hear Beyonce.
This man,
there
you go, y'all.
This
I'm
like
going
little
Beyonce
addendum to his claim is crazy. The B grandfather clause that you just put in there.
Beehive.
Always.
Yeah.
Smart man. Well, what do you?
So that's what was said, and then apparently Jay-Z called him because he posted this morning. Now, I'm still hoping these are all smoke screens the other way, but when I was on the phone with Hove, he said that he is absolutely not dropping an album. That messed me up, though. And, with Jay-Z, the disappointment, not only is he my favorite artist of all time, but I always say that he's my motivational speaker in a sense, where that aspirational nature of his music, more or less, not material stuff, aspirational. Like, I can do this, I can accomplish anything. And it's helped me through various phases of my life. So I was thinking that the timing would be right on time right now. So a little disappointed by that. Gotta be honest with y'all out there. All right, member chats, super chats go first. We can get to those. Brett Atwood said Sid was on fire. Kevin Zwicker, Fever running wild. Diana says, I haven't watched those other games yet. Fever game ended too late. Look, the Fever play, are they going to play on Sunday? That's the other thing. Is the schedule out? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they've even set up the possible matchups. Here's some clips that have just come out from the Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston show that I'm seeing live as we're going here. So let me share this because it's AB, I think, talking about Caitlin Clark's injury, which is probably relevant to this audience. Let's see what was said. We're listening to it together.
Some devastating news, I would say, but I don't think it was unexpected given the time period of the season. Caitlin Clark announced on her social media that she will miss the rest of the season. She captioned it in short, in part. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with a singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. She was limited to 13 games this season, and she hasn't played since July 15th when she suffered a right groin injury in the final minute of the Fever's win versus the Sun right before the All-Star game.
I mean, that's our girl. That's our girl. And I feel like no matter what happened, you have to protect you and you have to protect your career. There's no reason to force anything. And I feel like her just kind of having that approach of doing what's best for her is all we can ask for, because we'd rather Caitlin sit out and then come back next season and we're ready to roll and we're ready to rock. And so we've just been supporting her and she's been supporting us. She's always there. We're getting to watch film and she's in there walking through saying, hey, and we're like, get out, go do what you need to do. But I mean, she's still the same. And I feel like our approach, because we've been missing her for so long, is just to come in and compete. And we have a good rhythm, I think, with everyone that's came in. And so just keeping that as our main focus.
Well, Coach Steph White had said that they were hopeful that Clark would return by the end of the regular season, but Caitlin was unable to fully reincorporate back into practice. And, she had never missed a game in her collegiate career or first year in the WNBA. So this is definitely a blow, I'm sure, for the organization, but also for her. Fever went 8-5 when Clark played and 15-15 without her. You all did win the Commissioner's Cup for the first time in franchise history without her. So maybe that is also another precursor. But big picture from the outside looking in, I have been a player that has had a number of injuries. And I think later in my career, especially, some of those injuries would have been less or preventable had I listened to my body earlier.
And taken the time. Yeah.
And there is a difference in being a role player and coming in and playing a role and coming in off of an injury. There is a rhythm. But when you are Caitlin Clark and you have the ball in your hands and you are on the other team's scouting report, to come in half and not be able to be in that amount of, I would say, rhythm of the game, because the rhythm of the game changes towards the end of the year. And so when it started getting closer to the end of the regular season, I was like, it's dangerous to come back during playoff basketball because the whole flow, the physicality, all of that is different. And so I know it's difficult to kind of take time and understand the big picture, especially when you're living with tunnel vision and you've worked so hard to get to where you're at, but it's the smart thing. And I'm proud of this generation for taking the time they need, looking at the bigger picture, and making sure that they get healthy. So, Caitlin Clark, hope you feel better. You have a great off season and you come back.
So, few things to that. Like, again, with Caitlin, it's like the first injury. Basically, I've grieved, and I think people have grieved in the sense of she's so important to not only the Fever, but the league as well. And she's just so exciting to watch, and knowing the reality of the situation. If she doesn't play off-season basketball, it would basically be 13 games in almost 2 years for Clark. And then the circumstances in which this unfolded, where there is this hope and this hope and this hope, and then it's gone. And then you do wonder, what's the balance there again, because I do think it's my opinion, if a professional athlete is ready and healthy and the team is in the playoffs, they give it a go. I can't imagine a competitor like Caitlin Clark would sit that out if, she felt confident, if she felt ready and good to go. There's like being cautious, and then there's being overly protective. And protective. And you look at you look at what happened with Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA finals, and he had the calf injury, which then became the Achilles injury. And these things, one can beget the other. So there's a little bit of lessons involved in things like that. Same thing with Kevin Durant playing through the calf that led to the Achilles. And Caitlin, I just think all in all, it feels like this year was not meant to be, with the myriad of injuries on, that added up and down the body. And for her to even have the ankle injury happen in the midst of the recovery is probably a testament to that. So it's just a bummer all around. And sometimes you forget about it, and then you think about it again. You're like, oh yeah, she's not playing. The Fever are continuing to play, and you see her on the sideline. But, it's not, to me, like seeing Caitlin Clark on the sideline, so what? Right? Seeing Caitlin Clark call timeout or yell at the refs or clap, so what? I want to see her play basketball. That's the reason I became enamored with Caitlin Clark, is watching her play basketball. Just such a brilliant playmaker. Obviously, the logo bombs, the excitement that she brings on the floor. That is what exploded her popularity. And, she can sign autographs, and she can be present, and she can even do interviews or whatever. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. And that's why it's sad. And that's why, when she says she misses this so bad, it hits you in your, like I said, in your Fever feels, right? The 22 Blues. Because the reality sets in that Caitlin Clark isn't going to play in the playoffs. And she isn't going to suit up for the Fever again this season. And it's just a bummer. It's just a bummer and a shame and sad. Yeah, going through the 5 stages of grief and CC injury, are we up to acceptance yet? I mean, I think you still see people saying, could she come back from the playoffs, for the playoffs? At some point. And it hits you like a ton of bricks when you do think about it. Injuries happen too. Injuries happen in sports. She ain't the first player to get injured. It won't be the last injury she has. But injuries don't usually hit like this. Especially when you know her importance to the entire, dynamic of the league. Which is where eventually I think it's a healthier league when they're not so reliant on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has helped elevate the rest of the league and helped elevate women's basketball and, of course, the WNBA and broaden the star power of some of the other players. But you want it to be closer to equal footing at some point. Because even in every other sport where somebody goes down, a superstar goes down, yeah, it can hurt the interest, but it doesn't feel as crippling as it does with Caitlin. Joe Lalala says, I agree with you, Robin. I think she's playing somewhere. Unrivaled seems like the logical choice because she can cycle in and out. Look, again, I don't know what she's doing. I just think it makes some sense. That is a long time on the shelf to not play basketball. So I think it makes some sense. Otherwise she's not playing until May. That's October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 8 months. And I saw, I think it was just a kid from Brooklyn earlier in the chat saying that WNBA players don't, NBA players, don't play in the offseason, and WNBA players do because they need the money. And yeah, that's true, or for money, but But the NBA offseason is not as long. I mean, you're talking about June, July, August, September. It's about, somewhere between half and 2/3. So it's just not as long. And that's part of the difference. But yeah, the situation sucks. Do you really think there's a possibility that she will play Unrivaled? If overseas leagues sniff out a possibility of CC playing would create a frenzy? Yeah, I mean, look, it would create a frenzy almost it could almost be too much too. I don't know. I have no idea what she's doing. None. All I'm saying is it feels like a long time to be off. And look, yeah, again, content creators and the like could float selfish stuff, but I just think from a working our way back to the court standpoint, that's it's just a bummer. It really is. And yeah, it is it is the first injury I feel like I've grieved. I saw Ryan Rucco give you a shout out last night, Robin. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, Ryan's awesome. He's a real one. He has always supported. We did a radio show together back in the day. So I did very much appreciate what he said. Did I change my hair color? No. Why does it look different? What's wrong with my hair? Did you see Unrivaled added 2 more teams announced this morning? That means they're planning on 48 players if they do teams of 6. Yeah, I did see. I mentioned that. I touched on that earlier in the show. Unrivaled adding the players. Pure brown, not tipped. I don't know. I didn't do anything to my hair. Caitlin gave Lobo and Rucco special basketballs before the game last night, too. I'll have to ask Ryan about that. I'll have to ask him. Get those likes, subscribes in. Saw Kevin and somebody else was talking about Jay-Z. Oh, yeah. 444 top 5 Jay-Z albums. I agree 100%. I mean, I can make a case for number 1. Yeah, Blueprint is a classic, obviously. People bring up Reasonable Doubt as first album all the time. I would argue the Black Album is his biggest album as far as I don't know if it's his best album, but as far as a collection of songs, that one has a case. I mean, it's hard to know. Sometimes things can not be cause and effect. So it's hard to know exactly with Caitlin. But regardless, it's a bummer. Why does everybody say stuff like this? She'll get mauled on. What did you see in Unrivaled that was so harmful or dangerous or anything like that? Sometimes in Unrivaled, to be honest, the players who played in Unrivaled generally have been healthy, and also have had good seasons because Unrivaled is a development league. They focus on player development. Now, again, I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark needs to do Unrivaled. Obviously, she is in a unique position when it comes to leverage with any of these things and can make any decision she wants. I'm just saying it's a long time to not play basketball. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Nothing else. But that's about it, y'all. Any member chats? Super chats. Get him in. Jay is okay, but he ain't Biggie or Pac. And Jay's better than both Biggie and Pac. I mean, their careers were truncated for unfortunate, tragic, and obvious reasons. But Jay's better than both. Just more versatile. Pac is like all emotion and energy, which is cool, but I never really rocked with Pac too much lyrically. And then Biggie was very versatile too, but Hove just has the ability to say so much in an economy of words and to do it on any style of track and beat. And he's also, the catalog speaks for itself. You're too old school for this convo. I mean, this is pretty old school convo, actually, Brett. Were you talking about Grandmaster Flash? Rakim? Oh, if Caitlyn does Unrivaled, she'd be welcomed wholeheartedly. There's no question. No question. All right, y'all. Any other member chats, super chats? Get them in right now. Hit the likes, hit the subscribes, all those things. And the it's sad. It's a bummer what has taken place with Caitlin Clark this season. There's no question. But the Fever keep going. They keep marching on. And the Fever, this is another interesting wrinkle to this, is the Fever draw. They're still popular. And that's a testament to how transformative Caitlin Clark has been. The fact that the Indiana Fever are still the most popular team in the league without Caitlin Clark and it's not close. That's a testament to her fan base and the camaraderie of that team and the other players on that team. Because look, AB is a beast. Kelsey Mitchell, I talked a certified damn bucket. A baller, a hooper. Love Kelsey Mitchell. She and Caitlin Clark are the two most exciting players in the league. When they're together, that's a scary sight. But Kelsey by herself has carried the Fever. So to see everybody sort of gravitate and then support like Aerial Powers and all the other players that come in, it really is kind of beautiful in a sense. It's a beautiful thing. It's sports at its purest. And I know there's like, there's what am I trying to say? There's the Caitlin Clark really obsessive fans who are basically, going to be like, oh, they, anything that happens, she needs credit for or whatever. But the broadest fan base and the testament to the strength of her fan base is how big the Fever have become. And now the Fever, got everybody still on their bandwagon. And Stephanie White, yes, the Stephanie White hate is weird. It's certainly weird. Fever to the finals, baby. Hey, let's see how long they can keep going. I mean, as is, they've had a good season. One playoff win would be huge. One, not even a series, one playoff win, I think. Busta Rhymes seems to be very underrated. Busta Rhymes is like a great feature artist. Great feature verses and the like, unique style. But he's not really an album artist. So I don't think Busta Rhymes, he's a great live performer, by the way. But he doesn't have enough depth and catalog to be compared to the others. To the actual greats. Get those likes and subscribes in. I'm going to get the Ring Rascals channel with my kids going too. That's coming up. I wanted to do their first videos last night. but the game, it got, my youngest son was not here, and we ran into the game. Anyhow, also there's the Facebook group that Kevin started. So make sure you guys go into there. We talk about all this stuff after the show. You guys can help me when it comes to programming the show in there, what you want to talk about, other topics you want to hit. And I want to give Kevin a special shout out too, because he has been cutting up the shorts for the show, the reels that we started posting, which I'm way late on doing and probably should have done that for the longest time, but nonetheless, better late than never. And yesterday, it's funny, like this is like the way the world works sometimes. He had cut the one on, I think, Asia, when I said Asia should be the MVP. And I'm on my bike and I'm thinking to myself, you know what would make a good short? What I said about Lexi Hull and her face representing the Fever season. And he cut that up. We put that out. Obviously, Ryan saw it, and that's what led to it being mentioned on the broadcast. So things work themselves out in cool ways sometimes. And again, thanks to Ryan for that shout out on there. And thanks to everybody else who, like, when that happened too, online, kind of rallied around it and was posting it and celebrating the fact that I got my mention there on ESPN. Pretty cool. But, Fever keep on keeping on. Yeah, he did mention this to me, Kevin. So I just want to make sure I give you your props. You've I've been impressed with your edits and the captions. You did good. I wish I had known you had that in your bag. But Kevin also took the initiative to go to a social media school and the like too. So all that in the process of what this show has been able to accomplish and put together. JN says, do pundits not talk about how the Sky GM called out Angel early in the year and she responded with her play, and the Sky have stunk without her? Look, again, I am not whether Angel is correct or incorrect is not the point here. You don't do that. Even the Sky GM is more within his rights to apply the pressure like that. And I remember those comments. I think he said, what did they yeah, and you can, what's the old saying, two wrongs don't make a right? You could say that he didn't need to basically apply that pressure to her when he said they need even more from her. That's if you want to go that way, but he is the general manager of the team. There's a different position there. And regardless of whether or not he said that, she had also previously basically said she was helping GM last year. And just as a teammate, you don't put that out publicly about your other teammates. There's a break of trust there. Again, whether it's correct or not, because she's within her rights. And by the way, if she called just him out, maybe we're talking about a different story. If she said Jeff needs to, make sure he kills it this offseason without even mentioning her teammates, maybe it's a different story. But he is the boss in the situation. And at the same time, she didn't just call out the GM. She called out her teammates. Andre 3000 is the best rapper ever, respectfully. Look, Andre 3000 is on a lot of people's lists. And when you talk about the greatest groups of all time, Outkast is right near the top. There's no question. Outkast is generational, to use a word that gets thrown around a lot. And when they, evolved, Big Boy probably gets a little underrated and things. But, I mean, from evolving from Southern Playalistic Cadillac music to ATLians, which is a great record, might be my favorite even, to Aquenamai, to Stankonia, the different sounds, the different presentation, all that. Outkast is, amazing. And Melly Mel, I've hung out with Melly Mel, but I wouldn't say the best rapper of all time. No offense. Is Paige still rookie of the year with only 9 wins and being dead last? Yes. I mean, have the Mystic look. I don't think Paige should be like all WNBA and take Kelsey's spot, but or anything like that. But if the Mystics been that much better than the Wings, where it's like tips it in Sonia's, way. We could talk some more rap if y'all want. I'll hang on if we want to talk some more rap and hip hop. I'm always down for that. I saw what was the post from, was it Double XL earlier? What is the most iconic rap line ever? Opening rap line ever? That was on the yeah. So to me, that comes down to 2. One is Jay-Z on PSA. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho. H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I guess even back then you could call me CEO or the ROC. Ho. Fresh out the frying pan into the fire. I be the music biz #1 supplier. Flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. I got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain. That's right, ho. And the other would be Inspect the Deck on Triumph. A bomb atomically. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses, that is a hell of an open to a track as well. Get those member chats and super chats in. I'll hang out for a few more minutes. I've seen people talk about stretching in the chat today. Stretching is important. I got to get to a stretch session myself. But everybody who thinks they know how Caitlin Clark is working out, we don't really know what's going on. The chat wants to know if we have a better shot against the Aces or Dream. I mean, the Dream have some outside shooting. Makes them a little bit... My instinct, like my initial reaction is to say the Dream. Because I think the Fever can push the ball against them. But that, the shooting that they have... The Aces don't exactly have that. The thing that is really been great for the Aces, Jackie Young is playing like a star again. So I think it's... I think from a speed standpoint, the Fever could beat the Dream. But the Dream have that size inside that negates. So the more I think about it, the more I actually lean the Aces. Maybe I should have a separate channel on rap and music. Maybe Kevin and I can start that one. I've got the Ring Rascals channel coming up with my kids. That'll be the wrestling channel. And maybe I need it. But how many channels can I manage is the problem, And there's not enough news around like the hip hop and rap stuff that I'm into, like versus the other stuff that's going on now. Like when the Kendrick Drake beef happened, Kevin and I were talking about that, and I was reveling in that. I was walking laps of my development, listening to Euphoria on a loop over and over and over again. Like I literally came up with a lot of the ideas that I've come up with and a lot of the execution that you've seen, just like walking in my development lap after lap after lap, listening to Euphoria last that from when Like That dropped. Let's get it, bro. Through Not Like Us and into GNX, like that carried me through a big, but that battle really carried me and helped me, to be honest with you, because I love rap music. Like I love music in general, but I love rap music, like when it's done well. And it's like actually, not Drake, but that really, and GNX and then the Clips record is tremendous. It's tremendous. That's why I felt like Hove should be next member event. Whenever you guys want to do it. I feel like we keep them to Fridays. Maybe the show, I'll try to run Monday through Thursday. We can keep the Fridays open for members. We're figuring this out again as we go. But one of the things I do appreciate is how many of you guys are consistently here and always here. And that's why I'm putting it on myself to be consistently here and always here. And we'll see, like obviously I'm following the Fever through the playoffs and the WNBA playoffs. But once we get into the off season, we'll figure out little tweaks and the like. But let me know when you guys want to do a member event, and we'll do another one, or how I can help the members, because I don't take it for granted that you guys joined up. You could start doing the gifting of memberships if you want. Yeah, I it's not varying. I'm keeping it. If I ever change it, I'll change it and keep it consistent. I'm not going to do that anymore where I just pop up out of nowhere. So I don't drink beer, bro. This is Polar Seltzer. I don't drink alcohol. Drugs are bad, okay? No, but I don't drink. We got to get that Polar Seltzer. Kevin's working on sponsorships too, right? No, but Kevin, I did want to give him a special shout out for the reels and the like that he put together. Oh, what do you know about Outcast, Diana? I think you might have been talking about the Lunar Owls, but that's some Outcast stuff. Hooty hoo! Yeah, that would be the worry is is Ryan Howard's status? Where's she at right now? I mean, she just played a few days ago, so unless she got hurt in between then and now, I think she's going to be there. Oh, Alicia Gray, Lunar Owl, I got you. Kevin does it all. Yeah, giving Kevin his proper credit. He's really stepped up in the last few days. Getting those reels together. All right, y'all. That'll do it for me here today. Unless anybody wants to get any super chats or member chats in at the last second, get those likes, get those subscribes in. I do very much appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow. Same Robin time, same Robin channel. Until the next one. Yeet.